everybody, it's Barney here from Fun Art. Hope you're having a great day. If you've purchased this kit, the Fun Art Tropical Fish, that's the one that we're going to work on today. If you haven't bought the kit, not to worry. We'll go through all the steps and you can just do it with the stuff that you have at home. No big deal. So in your kit, you would receive the canvas, the instructional sheet, the transfer paper and the transfer. Let's see if we can get that out here, just like so. You also get a palette and the paint that goes with it, and a few brushes or other tools. This particular kit you need to have a dauber. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. It's just a little piece of sponge is all it is. So what we're going to be painting today with this tropical fish, I'll put them up here. You can see it's a bit smaller than the canvas that I'm going to use today, but that's okay. I'm actually going to turn it this way, and I'm going to have my fish a bit larger than this. So our first step is we're going to take our paintbrush and we're going to put it in the water and pat it out dry on our paper towel. So super easy. The next thing we want to do is we want to load it with paint. So we're going to put it in the white paint, pull it back and over several times, and then we're going to pick up one corner of blue. We want to make sure that when we're putting it on, that we have it at the right color of blue for our ocean that we want. So the more blue I add, of course, the darker the ocean it will become. So we're actually going to put this on. I'm just using quick short strokes with a little bit of movement in it, but I am blending it out. So I'm not doing globs and blobs. So if you got globs and blobs, just keep brushing it back and forth, and that's called blending, and just blend it out so that there's no giant globs and blobs. Now we will be doing the background twice. The first time, we're really just base coating it. We're trying to get the canvas covered and decide what color it's going to be as we mix it right on the canvas. So don't be afraid. This is fun art, not fine art. You can't do it wrong, you'll only do it different. And you can have your canvas either way. You can have it horizontal or vertical. You can switch it around. Whatever's most comfortable for your hand, actually. Now today I'm using a Montmartre board canvas, 12 by 16. These are great because then you can just put it right into a frame. So here we go, we're halfway down. Again, I'm not overly concerned at this moment. What I'm looking for is to make sure that I have no globs and blobs and that it is completely smoothed out. I do want my water kind of running in the same direction, so I'm going to switch this around because I do want to have the fish is going to be on the canvas in the horizontal position. There we go. And once I get this whole canvas covered with the first coat, then I want to use my blow dryer. Blow dryer just speeds things up. It's a great way to make your painting go a little bit faster, especially if you only have a couple hours to work on it. Maybe the kids are sleeping, maybe you're the kid and you have to get back to school, so you only have a bit of time. And we do offer private sessions here at Fun Art on Zoom, So you can book a sip and paint party with your girlfriends, or if you have a birthday party coming up, and you can customize the kit that you want. You can check out our website, which is funartpaintparties.ca, and there's lots of cool art there that you can purchase. We do ship all over. Oh, I'm down to the last corner, so I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to turn it this way, just so that I can reach the corner. Now you'll notice that I did not make mine all exactly one color. So what I've done is it's kind of a mottled effect. I don't want it all just to be flat blue. But if you do, just smooth it out, keep blending it. What I really like is the mottled look when it has more texture to it, it has more movement to it. So that's generally how I paint. So I'm going to put my brush in the water. I don't want it to sit out and dry out. Pick up my blow dryer, and I'm just going to give it a quick blow dry. You want to make sure that you keep the blow dryer moving at all times. You don't want to hold it in one spot. It'll bubble the paint if you do that. And we want to make sure that it's dry to the touch before we go to put on the second coat. So when I look at this, I want to decide, okay, is it dry enough? It feels pretty dry. I don't have any globs, I don't have any blobs. So that's kind of good. That's where I want to be. The next thing I'm going to do is rinse out my brush really good. And I'm going to pat it out on my paper towel again. I don't want to have water dripping down the shank. This is a steel shank. What happens is that can make the paint run and really makes a mess all over my canvas. I don't want that, especially when I'm working on an easel and my canvas is straight up and down. So I'm going to dry it off really good. I'm going to load it again with white paint and with a bit of blue. I'm just going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to do a second coat. The second coat is really important. I know that a lot of people feel like, wow, 2 coats, is that really necessary? I strongly encourage it. You don't have to, but what it does is it helps to make sure that your whole background is covered. It gives you a second chance to decide if you're happy with the colors that you have and where you have them. Again, I'm just using some quick short X strokes that help to create movement on my canvas. We're only using blue and white. This is a cerulean blue, and I call it Beautiful Day Blue here in the studio. It's just a really nice day blue. The ocean's going to be lovely, and I want my fish to really pop off the canvas. I'm just going to work my way down, and don't worry if I'm going too fast. You can stop this at any time and just restart it and get caught up. It's a great thing about YouTube. I don't want globs and blobs. It's not that kind of painting. We do work a lot in palette knife here at Fun Art, but for this particular painting, it's done with brush strokes. It is a smooth background. So I'm not having globs and blobs. I am blending them out. What I'm not doing is over blending. That way I get different shades of blue in my ocean. Alright, when I get so far that I think, wow, okay, I feel like I might need to flip this canvas over just so that I can reach better. Just for my arm, it works better if I do this. But again, just do what's comfortable for you. There's no wrong. You can't do art wrong. Art is just a personal expression. That's my theory anyways. So at Fun Art, I encourage people just to take liberties. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not do it exactly the same as other people. That's not the goal. When you're an artist, you're going to do it your way, and that's great. That's the right way for you. Alright, so as I finish up my second coat, I'm going to make sure that I'm super happy with it. I'm going to check it for globs and blobs before I go and use the blow dryer on it. And if I see any, I'm just going to whisk them out and blend that out just slightly. Again, I'm not over blending because I'm looking for a little bit of movement and texture on my canvas. Okay, and there we go. So now it's time to take out the blow dryer again. We're going to turn it on, keep it moving until it's dry to the touch. Now that the canvas is all blown dry, I want to make sure that it's completely dry to the touch. So I'm just running my hand over it. Before I put the transfer on, if it's not dry, it will leave dark smudges, so you don't want to do that. Now we are using a transfer paper, and what you need to do is make sure the carbon is dark, goes towards the canvas, and you're going to put your traceable right on top. Now you can position this any way you like. I'm going to have my fish as if he's heading up towards this light area on the canvas. So he's heading up, going up to see what's going on. And I am using a bit of painter's tape just to keep it in place. So now you're going to take your pencil and you're going to trace over all of the main lines. There's really no point in putting in too many of the small lines other than where the tail is separated. You definitely want to put that in. So I want to push hard enough that it leaves the transfer, but not so hard that I poke a hole through my canvas, especially if I'm working on a canvas that is a stretch canvas. So I'm taking and doing all of the main lines. I'm not overly concerned with the little lines inside, simply because once I start to paint, this is just a guideline. I will not be able to necessarily see them all once I'm painting. There's a little tiny fin back there on the other side. I do want this gill and the eye. These gills in. Alright, I'm going to put a couple of these bigger lines in that are just indicators, and it helps me make sure I do a good job. Okay, there we go. And I lift it off, and I'll just move it a little bit closer so you can see. So there is the image. Now I could draw that myself. I don't have to use a transfer. So if you don't have a transfer, don't sweat it, no big deal. Just get your pencil out. If you make a mistake, use a ruler. Or here in class, we often just use chalk. Chalk is super easy. You can just make it disappear very quickly, and it doesn't leave harsh marks. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at this fish, and we're going to go, okay, he's going to be sort of this pinkish goldfish. It can be any color you want, to be quite honest with you. It is fun art, so be creative. I've chosen a smaller brush with a smaller tip. This one's called a filbert. It has a round end, but any small brush will do, a flat small brush. I'm going to wet it in my water once again, pat it out on my paper towel. I'm going to load it up with white paint, and now this time I'm going to put it in a little bit of red. So of course, as you know, red and white make pink. And I am really just going to paint along the lines that I have, but I am keeping in mind that here on this line of the gill that I want to make sure that I can kind of see it a little bit. Now, if this brush is too big, and at some points, especially around the face here, I will get out a small liner brush and use that, just so that I can really get in there a little bit closer. But again, it's only a guideline. You're going to paint over it, and you're going to make this your own painting. So here we go. Again, we're base coating this guy. Making him kind of a light pink. I'm using a fair bit of white the first time. I like to do that. I find that it helps to cover the background, especially when we're painting like this in fun art and we're not doing it in pieces. We're actually putting the whole background on first. I'm going to need a small brush for there. And these lines, we know that they went for gill lines here, so I'm actually going to make those strokes in the same fashion that the line would be. That will help me later on. Even though I do have a picture, a reference picture to go from, I just will find it helpful. So I'm putting this base coat on nice and smooth. And I'm doing his body first. There we go. Well, for this particular painting, it's going to be all the same color of pink, and we're just going to use different values. So by value, I just mean that we're going to use different shades, so darker and lighter, to help indicate his fins and his body structure. We know that we've got a little body line up there, so I'm going to take a little bit of red and just put it right on the edge. I'm going to blend it back because I still want to be able to see where his body is separate from his fin. Now, I'm not doing any detailed work yet. I'm still just working with this flat brush, but at any point you can switch to a smaller brush, and I will do that very soon, once I get all this base coating done. And again, I want to make sure that I can see where these lines are slightly, so I'm going to either take a little bit of red and just put them along it. That helps me to see where the fins are separated, because once I paint over these pencil lines, as you can see, I don't have them anymore. They're not there for a guideline. So by just using a darker value, so a little more red, that helps us, and also going in the shape. We'll go right out here, fill in this beautiful tail. Now you can make this tail as wispy as you like. Again, those pencil lines are just a guideline to make this fish unique to you. There we go. Alright, so I kind of have a good idea of where he is, and the next thing I'm going to need to do You guessed it, you gotta blow it dry. Now that you have it all blown dry and we've got it base coated, I am missing a few little spots. I don't know if you can see it here, but right at the mouth and down here at the fins. I'm going to take a little liner brush and I'm going to fill those spots in now. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit of white, a little bit of red, and anywhere, and then I'm just going to blend it back. So anywhere that I didn't get with my flat brush, now I'm just going back in and I'm going to put these in. You could have done it before. Either way is fine. Whether it's fun art, not fine art, there's no wrong. So I'm just getting close to any lines that maybe I didn't cover the first time around. Even though this is not my second coat yet, I just need to touch up my first coat just a little bit. There we go. And here. A little bit of red. And my tail. There we go. And just around the eye. I have a little bit of blue on there. I'm just going around the eye, because my fish is going to have, we do a little bit of blue, a little bit of black, a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow for a golden-eyed fish. Alright, so we have, now the first coat is pretty much done. I'm going to actually go back to my flat small brush, and I'm going to keep working on it. So the idea is that I want to make sure that I'm taking a bit of that deeper red and I'm going to give him some shadows here and there. We know that he's got some gill lines here, so I want them to be in a little bit deeper red. This is where your reference photo really comes in handy. So you can look at it and say, what do I need to do? I hope you're enjoying this afternoon or evening paint. Go around the eye a little bit. Again, I want to make sure that I have those gill lines in there, so I'm really only using just the white and the red and different values to create this fish. Now he's not completely monochromatic. I could add a little bit of blue to my red and it would give me some purple tones. And I can use that for dark shadowing. So smooth those out. And as I come to the tail, again I'm picking up just a little bit of pure red and just putting it where the body meets the tail. Just using a little bit of pure red again, just the upper part. I'm just doing a little shadow line just where the body separates from the fin. Now I can use white or I can use red to separate, either or. Again, just increasing or decreasing the value of the paint by adding more or less red or white. Now, I like the darker tones, So I'm gonna put it, tend to be a bit of a bold painter. So I'm gonna use that on the tail. I'm gonna put some lines in it, because usually the tail has, you know, it's like a fin, it has lots and lots of lines and ribs in it. And again, I'm just loading it up with a little bit of red. And then I'm gonna go on the chiseled edge. So if I was painting flat, and then I turn it so that it's thin, up and down, and that's the chiseled edge. Now I do need to make sure that I can't see any of the blue canvas underneath it. It's looking pretty good here. And the eye again. The fisheye is usually pretty round. My gills. Again, and the chiseled edge. Put it in place. Okay. Now I think my next strategy is to take my liner brush, and I'm going to do some work on the fins using the liner brush. So I'm just going to outline it a little bit here. I'm outlining it with the dark red. Alright. And again, you want to make some lines on it, so some upstrokes or downstrokes, either way. But we're just giving the illusion that it's a fin. This is impressionism work. We take all kinds of creative liberties here at Fun Art. I just want to put that body line back in. I don't want to lose that. That really separates my fin. And I can just blend it out a little bit. Get into my mouth area, highlight it a bit. I'm still working around that eye a little bit. Okay, so now these bottom fins, it's the same thing. I'm going to use my tiny liner brush. I'm just going to stroke in some paint onto the fins. I want to be able to see those lines. And anywhere now this fin needs to be on the body. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit because it's on this side of the body. This back fin is on the other side of the body. I just want to make sure that it looks like it's coming from the body. Okay. I'll just make up any little touches using my liner brush. And remember, it's only paint. If you do something that you don't really think, wow, that's not it, well, you can just paint over it. Blow it dry, paint over it. Now you can spend all day tweaking it, getting it just the way you want. And it can be any color that you want. Alright, So we have the eye left to do, and what we're going to do with that is we're going to take a little bit of white, and we're just going to go around the outside of the eye. I just want to make sure the pink comes right up to that white line. Okay. There we go. So the next part of the eye is to put the center in, and the easiest way to do that is to use the other end of the brush. So not the bristles, but this end. And all you're going to do with that is take it and set it straight down onto your palette, and then tap it out a couple times, and do that a few times till you get a nice circle. Then you're going to take it and you're going to put it right in the center of the eye. You can wiggle it around just slightly if it's not quite big enough. Just tap, tap, tapping. Okay, and now he's got an eye. That was pretty good. What we're missing from this is the bubbles. So to make bubbles, we're going to use a sponge dauber. I'm not wetting it. I'm just going to put it right in some white paint, half of it in white paint. The other side, I'm going to put in blue paint. I am going to tap it out on my palette, and then I'm going to set it on my canvas, and I'm going to spin. And there you got some cool bubbles. I hope you enjoyed this fun art painting of a tropical fish. I'd love to see yours. Put a picture below. Have a great day, everybody.